Today we're going to clean the Springfield XD40 Compact 3.8 pistol, and as usual, to start off we're going to make sure the pistol is completely unloaded by removing the magazine first, locking the slide back, verifying there is no round in the chamber, and now we are ready to begin. First we need to field strip the weapon with the slide locked back. Just rotate the takedown lever vertical like that, grab a hold of the slide, push it back, release the slide lock, and it will come right off the front of the gun. There is no need to press the trigger on an XDM in order to remove the slide. Next, simply turn the slide over, squeeze the recoil spring and guide rod toward the front, let go, and now you can lift the barrel out easily from the gun. And that's all the disassembly you need to do in order to clean the firearm. We're going to use the simplest possible method to clean this firearm today. All we need are these items right here. So we're going to use a CLP, which is a cleaner, lubricant, and protectant. I use original gun oil because it's non-staining, non-scented, and it works great. It's safe on plastic firearms. There's a lot of other options out there for CLP. That's just what I use. We're going to use a bore snake. This is a quick and easy way to clean the inside of the barrel or the bore. It's got built-in copper brushes on it. We're going to use a gun brush. This is actually a dog toothbrush, but gun brushes are similar. It has a larger brush head and a smaller brush head to get in all the different areas of the gun. I prefer these double-ended cotton swabs. There's a regular end on one side and a pointy end on the other. This pointy end fits perfectly right into the slide cuts of most firearm slides. And then I'm going to use some cotton rags, and this is just a cut-up t-shirt. I do also recommend that you wear some kind of eye protection and some kind of nitrile gloves. I'm not going to use gloves in this video because I need to operate the camera, and that's going to make it a lot more difficult. Alright, you can start with any of the pieces, but I like to start with the barrel. All I'm going to do, I'm going to put a couple of drops in each end of the barrel of gun oil. Then I'm going to take one of my cotton swabs and I'm just going to smear that oil around. The idea is just to get a coating of oil inside the barrel to kind of get it to start loosening up the dirt. Then I'm going to let that sit for about 5 minutes. Alright, it's been a few minutes, and now I'm just going to get my bore snake. Each bore snake is made for a specific caliber. This one says 40 right on the end here. And all this is tight-fitting material. It's going to fit nice and snug in the barrel, and it's got copper brushes built in, which is going to scour the carbon from the inside. And then the rest of the bore snake is going to pull all the dirt out. So all you need to do is drop the bore snake into the barrel and just pull it through. It should be nice and snug. I usually do it 2 or 3 times, get all the dirt out of there. The dirtier it is, the more times you want to do it. But it's a nice, quick, and clean way to get your barrel nice and clean on the inside. Take a look in there and you can see how nice and shiny it is. So we got that pretty good. So next, we want to take the cotton swabs and we want to clean off this feed ramp right here. And if necessary, you can put some more oil on there to use that to clean it up. Then I just clean the outside of the barrel a little bit right here. A little bit of crud gets up in here. All right, just use as many cotton swabs as you need. Doesn't have to be spotless. You just want to get most of the buildup off of there. And then I'll just put a drop or two on the outside of the barrel and use one of my rags to wipe the outside of the barrel down. Shouldn't be too dirty on the outside, but you never know. You want to get it nice and clean. Wipe it down at the end. And now we are done with the barrel. Alright, next we're going to clean the slide. We're basically going to do the same thing. We're going to coat all the surfaces with some oil, let it sit for a few minutes, and then we're going to wipe it all down. There's a couple of places we do not want to get oil. This is the breech face, this surface here, and this hole is where the firing pin is located. We do not want to drip any oil into that hole. And we also don't want to get any oil down into this channel here where that spring is. And that's because this is where the firing pin moves back and forth. Too much oil down in there will attract dirt, turn it into a sludge, and then that will slow down your firing pin and possibly cause your gun not to fire. So you just want to be careful about that. I will eventually have a video on how to take this all apart so you can clean that area once in a while if you do a lot of shooting. Alright, so we're going to get some oil. You can be a little generous here. Put a couple of drops in the slide cut. This notch here on both sides, that's called the slide cut, and that's where your slide rides along the rails of the frame when it's cycling. Put a couple drops down in here, a couple drops down in this area here, and into the other slide cut on the other side. And then what I do is take a brush and just gently kind of spread that oil around. Again, we just want to coat the area to start loosening up the dirt. It'll clean up the dirt, and then we're just going to come back and wipe it down. Make sure you get in this area here and in here. We'll do the outside of the slide after we get the inside done, one mess at a time. You get a little bit on the breech face, but you don't want to drip any down into the hole, but you can get a little bit on there. So you want to get it good and coated like that, not excessively, but you want to get a little on all the surfaces. All right, then we're going to let that sit for about 5 minutes or so, or even longer if you want. You can clean your brush off with a paper towel. All right, it's been a few minutes. Now we just want to start wiping it down with one of our cotton rags. Just get the bulk of it off right here with the rag. And again, it doesn't have to be spotless. You just want to get ahead of any buildup. All right. What I find works well to get into these notches or the slide cuts is just throw the rag over there and use the bristles of the brush to push the rag into the slide cuts. And you can move it up and down like this and into all these tight areas. It'll push the rag right in there a lot better than your fingers can do, and that will help clean out those areas. You can use the smaller end to get into tighter spaces there, and for cleaning off that breech face, get in there like that. All right, and then once you do that pretty well, here's where the pointy tip cotton swab is a great help. It fits right into this slide cuts here. And you just slide them up and down and get all the crud out of that slide cut there. And then the areas that aren't so tight, you can use the other end. When you're done, just make sure you blow out any little strands of cotton that might be in there. Then just keep using your swabs until you get it as clean as you want it to be. And if it's really, really dirty, you can put some more oil on there, let it sit a little bit longer. But usually one treatment does the job, in my experience. Make sure you get that breech face pretty good. One very important place you want to make sure you get, and that's under the extractor. This is the extractor, this little hook here. This is what pulls the empty brass out of your chamber and ejects it from the gun. So it's very important that there's no dirt underneath in this notch here. You just want to make sure you get under here really good. One other place you can get is down next to this extractor. There's some grooves down in here, and you can just get your brush in there, and it will go down next to the extractor and brush out anything that's building up around your extractor. For the outside of the slide, just put a drop or two on a rag, and then just use that to kind of polish up the outside. You don't want to get it too oily because it'll be slippery, but this will help get any dirt on there. And then just wipe it everywhere you want it to be until it looks as nice as you want it to look. All right, and that's all there is for the slide. Now let's move on to the frame. All right, so the frame, we're going to basically do the same thing. There's some buildup here. These are the rails. These should be cleaned. There's 4 rails, 2 in the back, 2 in the front. That should be cleaned pretty well, and a little bit around in this area. And we're just going to do the same thing. You can turn this takedown lever and get it out of the way for now. So we'll put a drop on each rail like that, kind of a drop here and a drop in this area. And now we're just going to spread that oil around a little bit to let it start working on loosening the dirt up. Just make sure you get a little coating of oil all over everything there. Not excessive, just enough to kind of work on the carbon deposits. Anywhere you see some dirt, just get a little oil there. Don't drip it in there, just one or two drops here and there, and then smear it around. You're going to let that sit for a few minutes and work on loosening up that carbon. Alright, after a few minutes, we're just going to take the rag, wipe everything down with your hands as best you can. Do a quick overall wipe. Yeah, this frame's pretty dirty. Just clean everything as best you can. Alright, and you can use the same method to get down into the rails here. Throw a cotton rag over there and use the bristles of the brush to kind of push the rag into the slots there pretty well. You can do the same thing here. Just helps get the rag down in the tight spots, sides. And then when you're done that, get your cotton swabs, and these pointy ones work great too for getting underneath here in case the rag didn't get it. Gets in all these tight spaces really well. Feel good. All right, and then just keep using your cotton swabs until you get all the crud out of there that you can. Alright, so now we've got the frame pretty clean. As far as the outside of the frame, you can just wipe that down with a cloth. If it is dirty, just put a drop of CLP on a rag and just kind of wipe down the outside, and then you want to wipe that off because you don't want a slippery gun, but you want to clean everything. Like I got some fuzz behind the trigger here. Get that off and just get nice and clean back there, and then just wipe things up real good. Gun look nice and spiffy. Don't use any solvent, any actual like gun bore solvent on a plastic frame though. You want to make sure you use something that is plastic safe. The original gun oil that I use is definitely plastic safe. And then you are done with the frame. The next thing we have is the recoil spring and guide rod. These usually do not need much in the way of cleaning, but if yours is dirty, just get a brush and kind of brush it down. I don't really see much in the way of dirt on this. And if it's real dirty, you can put a drop of CLP on the brush and clean it up, and then just wipe it down real good with cotton rag, and you are good to go. Alright, now we're going to lubricate the Springfield XDM 40, and the manual is very vague about lubrication. It more or less says lightly oil after cleaning. So basically, this is how I lubricate my pistols. On the barrel, put a drop of oil on a rag, and I would just wipe down the whole barrel. This is lubrication as well as corrosion resistance. I just quickly and lightly cover the whole barrel. You don't want to leave anything but a slight residue on there just to show that it's a little bit oily. And then we're going to basically do the same thing on the slide. So all the parts in the slide, just light oil down inside, down in the bottom here, down on this surface, because this does come up against the barrel. So a little bit of lube on a rag down in here. I would get some and just run the rag down the slide cuts a little bit. All right, and then for the frame, what I would do is the same thing. Any metal parts, just rub it real quick with a little bit of an oily rag. Make sure you get these rails here. 1, 2, 3, 4 rails. That's where the slide runs back and forth on these rails. You want to make sure you have a little residue of oil on those, a little bit in the mechanism here, and that is about it for oil. That is all I would do. The modern handguns do not require much in the way of oil. You need some, but not very much. All right, so now we just need to reassemble the firearm. So just take the slide upside down, drop in the barrel like so, and then you want to put in your recoil spring and guide rod. Just pinch it and make sure it ends up right in the middle, and make sure it's parallel to the slide when you hold it upside down, and everything should look just like that. Make sure the takedown lever is in the up position if you moved it. All right, and then take the slide, sit it on the front of the frame like this, and just slide it back. The slots in the slide line up with the frame rails, just like that. And then slide it on. Make sure the slide is right up against the frame, and just go all the way back and lock that in place with the slide stop. So the slide is locked back, and then rotate your takedown lever back to horizontal, and then you can release your slide stop. Make sure you can rack the slide and make sure that feels right. All right, and once everything is back together, the next thing you're going to want to do is a function and safety test. I'll put a link up here in the corner for a quick video that just shows you a couple of quick tests you can go through to make sure everything is working on your Springfield XDM. And the last thing we're going to want to do is clean the magazines. So I'm just going to clean this one here. If it's not real dirty, just kind of wipe it down. Look at the follower and see if that's dirty. Wipe that down. The other important thing is the feed lips here. That's this bent part of the metal at the top that holds the top round in place. Just make sure those are clean. You can get a brush in there if there's dirt and kind of remove the dirt. And then just wipe it down. You don't want to get any oil in the magazine because you don't want to get it on your ammunition. And if you have a very dirty magazine, or you have dropped it in the gravel or the dirt, or it's gotten wet, you're going to want to disassemble the magazine and clean it on the inside. And I will link a video up here to show you how to do that. It's quick and it's easy. All right, if you found this video helpful, please hit like below. Please check out the description for links to all the items we used in the video today and some other items as well. Please subscribe, and thank you for watching.